Hello everyone. We are going to start today the section of organic chemistry. And in organic chemistry, the first topic we will be discussing is called general organic chemistry. What we are beginning today in the first unit is the introduction to organic chemistry and very basic things about it. So the very first thing we will study about is basically what is meant by organic chemistry. Organic chemistry deals with the study of compounds of carbon. That is obviously the definition of organic chemistry. But when we see carbon compounds, certain compounds are not considered under organic. For example, compounds like metal carbonates, calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate, etc. Oxides like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and sulfides like carbon disulfide. Although they contain carbon, they are not considered as carbon compounds. So, which elements are then considered as organic compounds? The one which basically contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and other elements like nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, halogens, and in certain cases, metals. So, these are the elements which you can consider as the composition of organic compounds. Another special thing about organic compound is all of them contain covalent bonds. These covalent bonds are formed by sharing of electrons. And for carbon, this is a very special thing. So all carbon compounds are only going to contain the covalent bonds and no other type of bonds. Carbon can only form valency of 4. So the term which they usually use is either a tetravalent or quadricovalency. So tetra or quadri means 4 number, valent or valency indicates number of bonds produced. So tetravalent means carbon forming 4 bonds, quadricovalency indicates 4 covalent bonds. Now few more properties we can see with respect to covalent compound is all the covalent compounds are bad conductors of heat and electricity. Because they don't have any free electrons, they cannot conduct heat and electricity. Similarly, organic compound solubility varies a little bit. Majority of the organic compounds are water insoluble, but examples like glucose, fructose, sucrose, sugars, that means they are soluble in water. But majority of the organic compounds are soluble in organic solvents like chloroform, carbon tetrachloride, carbon disulfide, etc. Another peculiar thing about organic compounds is they have a characteristic smell, that is odor. Esters are the functional group which have very pleasant fruity odor, and most of the perfumes, body deodorants we use, they are all esters. Amines have fish like smell, benzene has petrol like smell. There are certain functional groups which do not have any smell at all. Another characteristic of organic compounds is they have comparatively low melting and boiling points. They are usually maximum up to 300 to 350 degrees Celsius. Whereas if you compare inorganic compounds, their lowest values are in the range of 500 to 600 degrees Celsius. So compared to them, these are very low. Now we come to some structural features or structural characteristics. First among that is called catenation. Catenation is forming bonds with other elements, other atoms of the same elements or different elements. For example, catenation can be shown in three types. First is forming straight chains. For example, you can see a straight chain of right now 6 carbon atoms. Another catenation which is very popular is branched chains. For example, you can see a chain of long carbon atoms here with one side chain on the second position. You can have another case where multiple branches are also possible, and you can have chains on the side chains also. So these are usually the cases of branch chain. Let me show you one very tricky example of branch chain, and look at this one. If you see this molecule or this structure, giving without any thought, somebody may say there is one side chain over here at this point. But we should understand this is not a branch. So a very important rule which you should know is branch can never be on the last or terminal carbon atom. That means this is actually a chain of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And the sixth carbon has been molded and written down looking like a chain, but this is not a branch. So branches could be anywhere on the chain, but they cannot be on the first and the last carbon atom. Third type of catenation you must have heard is ring or cyclic. In this case, you have rings made up of minimum 3 carbon atoms and maximum going up to 9 or 10 carbon atoms also. But most common and stable rings are 5 and 6 membered rings. So catenation, just to give an overview, is of 3 types: straight chain, branched chain and ring or cyclic. Another very important structural feature is called isomerism of organic compounds. Two compounds are called isomers if they have same molecular formula but different structural formulae. For example, a structure like butane C4H10 can have a straight chain structure or it can be a branched structure. You can observe both of them contain 4 carbon atoms each and 10 hydrogen atoms. The last main feature in this is forming polymers. Small organic molecules can join each other and form a long chain called polymer. For example, here the molecule is ethene CH2 double bond CH2. N indicates large number of molecules, and these carbon molecules are, you can see, getting connected to each other. So here you can see CH2 forming CH2, and this unit get linked with several other units n times. So the original molecule is called ethene, the polymer is called polyethene. These are all the characteristics what we have seen for organic compounds. Let us now understand how to write the structures of organic compounds, that is called representing the structures. Now in organic compounds there are different ways of writing structures. For example, originally when we see organic molecules and they are photographed by different methods, they are originally three-dimensional. A simple molecule like methane in reality looks like this. Here you can see the central green colored ball is imagined to be carbon, and these 4 gray molecule atoms are hydrogen. This is a original structure of methane, the central carbon atom and labeled as hydrogen atoms. But we very well know you cannot draw every time structure of every molecule in this way. This is really a kind of artistic work. So for organic reactions and all, we prefer different ways of writing. The first way is called wedge and dash representation. Wedge and dash. So the upper molecule, you can see how it is converted into wedge and dash. Imagine the connection. This carbon atom we have obviously written as C. You can see this bond, first one and this one, are shown with normal single bonds. The bond which is coming towards us is shown this way, and the bond which is away from us is shown with a dashed line. So two atoms are in the plane of the board or on the screen. This one is coming outside the screen towards us, and the fourth one is outside the screen but behind us. So these are the ways in which wedge and dash representations are done. In certain organic chapters, writing wedge and dash is a very compulsion way of writing. Another way to represent, and which is quite popular in school level also, is called Lewis dash structure. G.N. Lewis was a scientist who discovered this way of writing. The same methane molecule you can see is shown this way with four single bonds. Molecule like ethane, ethene, ethyne, methanol, several molecules, they are all popularly written in this fashion. But as we go ahead and structure become bit complicated, this kind of arrangement becomes cumbersome to write. So they group the things to write a condensed structural formula. So you can see this molecule ethane, this is CH3, is grouped together as CH3. This CH3 is written here as CH3. Similarly for ethane you can see this is CH2 written this way, double bond and CH2. Similarly ethyne and methanol. So when you come to college level, in chemistry we do not write hydrogen and carbon bonds separately. That's too childish to write. So we have to mention the structures in this manner, which is called condensed structural formulae. Throughout 2 years of 11th and 12th, we will be writing structures in this manner only. This is a list of different alkanes wherein you can see how we are writing the condensed formulae. And there is another way which I am introducing out here. You can see this is methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane. Now here you can see as the chain of carbon atom is becoming longer and longer, it is little boring to write such a long structure. So what scientists do is they take the central CH2 groups, group it together and write it as a clubbed notation. For example, in pentane we could have written CH2 three times and CH3 on both the sides. Similarly, here you can see CH2 four times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times. This is more easier way of writing the structures. Similarly, we have a set of alkene and even alkynes. So here I have not written the condensed formulae, but I have shown the original full structure of carbon and hydrogen. The next way of representing molecule is called bond line notation, or also called sometimes zigzag notation. Understand how we do this thing. Imagine a molecule of pentane. You can see there are 5 carbon atoms and connected with certain number of hydrogen. We transform this first of all into a zigzag manner. So 5 carbon atoms are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Corresponding hydrogens are written. Now, in bond line notation, we do not show carbon, we do not show hydrogen. So, if you vanish all these things, what is left over is this notation. So, when anybody asks you pentane notation in bond line, how you have to write it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all. This is a pentane structure. Let us work out some more. Imagine a compound 2-chloropentane. So now you can see on second carbon atom, there is a chlorine atom present. So in our transformation, we will show first of all 5 carbon atoms straight in a zigzag manner, to which second carbon chlorine is attached. This is known as the bond line notation for the given structures. We will study more about this in forthcoming sections about even double bond, triple bonds, they also can be written. If you are having ring structures, for them also bond line notation is rather more popular. Like cyclopropane is originally this way, but in bond line it is just a triangle. Cyclopentane is looking like a cyclopentane pentagonal structure, and cyclohexane is written this way. In fact, for cyclic compounds, these Lewis structures are usually never written, and what we prefer every time are these notations only. Another way of writing structures is Fisher projection formula. This is more used in 12th standard rather than 11th, but we just introduce this topic right now. Here, what we do is a process. Instead of reading this process, I will show you the things and you can come back to this. Imagine this is a molecule given to us. In this center here, there is a carbon atom connected with four groups A, B, C, and D. Now, what we do is we have to visualize the molecule from the angle of C and D. So, from here, we visualize the molecule, rotate it towards our left hand side or towards us. So, the molecule will now look like this. So, these two CD are here and these two AB I have gone behind. Whatever we see right now, just convert it into a plus sign type of structure. So we have converted a 3D structure into Fisher projection formula. Easy way of remembering this is, if suppose you have to write a compound into Fisher directly, my trick goes like this. Whatever is coming in front towards you, C, is written on left hand side. Whatever is going behind, D, is written on right hand side. Whatever is on left goes down, and whatever is written up remains up. If you remember this, you can obviously write Fisher projection quite easily. The last section under this is about bonding in organic molecules. This section will be more clear to you when you study about orbitals and chemical bonding. But for time being, to understand the organic chemistry, I am introducing some points. Whenever organic molecules have only single bonds, the carbon atom state is called sp3 hybridization. If you know about orbitals, this indicates one s orbital and three p orbitals. Whenever carbon atom has a double bond, it has sp2 hybridization. And when a triple bonded carbon is seen, it has sp hybridization. Remember these lines and we will see examples. Imagine this is an example given to you. What they ask in exam is, find out the hybridization of each and every carbon atom. So let us work out. Imagine this particular carbon. You can see this carbon has throughout and throughout only single bonds. So as per the rule, this is called sp3 hybrid carbon. If you see this carbon pair, the moment you see a pair with a double bond, both will be connected as sp2. And if you see a pair of triple bond, both are going to be sp hybrid carbon atom. Hybridization is only for carbon, not for hydrogen. Let us consider some more example. Imagine this structure. And if I see this last carbon here, you can see it's only with single bond, so it's sp3. This pair is double bonded, so both are sp2, and this last pair is triple bonded, so it's sp hybrid. So in exam they can ask you all the hybridizations. They can ask you a particular atom. For example, they can say this second and the third carbon shows which hybridization. So second is sp and third is sp2. So they can ask peculiar structures like this. Whatever single bond we see, the name of the bond is sigma bond. And wherever there is a double bond, it is made up of one sigma and one pi. And a triple bond is made up of one sigma and two pi. What I mean by this, we will see an example. Imagine this earlier molecule. And the question they ask, I have written here, count the bonds in them. So we have to go very systematically. We have to first count carbon-carbon sigma bonds. So here you can see this particular carbon has three carbon hydrogen bonds. Three carbon hydrogen bonds. Here we can see there is one carbon hydrogen bond. Here we can see there is one carbon hydrogen bond. This carbon does not have a bond with hydrogen, and the last one has carbon hydrogen bond. Since carbon hydrogen bonds are all single bonds, we call them sigma. So my first count you can see sigma bonds are 3 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 6 carbon hydrogen. Now next comes counting of carbon bond. Now you can see this is one carbon bond sigma. Double bond is made up of 1 sigma 1 pi. Here once again 1 sigma. Triple is made up of 1 sigma 2 pi. So how many sigma do we see? 1, 2, 3 and 4. You can see there are totally 4 sigma carbon bonds present. Now count pi bonds. So from pi bond you can see here there is 1 pi, here there are 2. So totally 3 pi bonds are present. Let us take one more example to clarify the concept. So at the end I have written the calculation. Total sigma bonds are going to be 6 plus 4 10 and total pi bonds are 3. We will take one more example to clarify the concept. Imagine now this one. We will go in a same way. First we will calculate carbon hydrogen bonds. So 2 carbon hydrogen here, 0 carbon hydrogen, 1 carbon hydrogen, 3 carbon hydrogen. So totally I can see right now 2 and 1, 3 and 3, 6 sigma carbon hydrogen. Then calculate carbon carbon. So 1 sigma, another sigma, another sigma. Totally 3 sigma. Calculate pi bonds now. I can see 1 pi bond here, another pi bond here. So total 2. So the total count becomes sigma bonds are going to be 9 and pi bonds are going to be only 2. I hope so far our first topic, unit number 1, is clear, and we have done quite basic things about organic chemistry today.